chiming in, checking in this morning. I want to thank everybody who came on the show last night, who had a comment, um, and who watched the show. And I want to thank the young ladies, Angel Lambert and her sister. I forget her. I keep forgetting her sister's name, but I apologize about that. I want to thank the Lambert sisters who also came on the show last night and also talked about the situation of their living conditions with their children at this house. It was 13 children, three adults living in a house, living under, somewhat. I'm not going to say somewhat, living under conditions that no one should have to live up under. So at the end of the day, I want to bring these young ladies on so they can speak their piece. They were getting a lot of flack from a lot of people, and given so, because I spoke with Real Talk with Big Dave just a little while ago. And we're definitely going to do a follow up on this show maybe a little later on tonight. So definitely, look out for that. We're definitely going to reach back out to the young ladies, um, and keep our promise and try to set up the GoFundMe, to help them get things going, and just pretty much help with the kids. But yeah, like I said, a lot of people, a lot of people had issues with, and like I said, understanding, no one should have to live in those circumstances, meaning kids. And that was my main concern, and that was my main talks. A lot of people, like I said, had problems with these young women, and like I said, rightfully understood the conditions that um that those kids and they were living in. I don't understand how anyone can live like that. A lot of people had questions. They felt like the young ladies were making excuses, and that was not for me to judge. I was just only there, to ask questions, and give an interview so everyone can hear from their point of view. You know, um, at the end of the day, we all go through situations, we all go through things, and I just wanted to understand, why was it that these women had their 13 children, living in conditions like that? Why didn't they reach out for help sooner? And just like I asked the questions last night, how long do you think that situation would have went on if the police wouldn't alerted to come out there about the animal in the first place? So it's a lot of questions that I did not ask. I did not bring them on there to try to humiliate them or to try to bash them. I wanted to, honestly, just give them a chance to be able to speak their piece on the situation. It was brought to me, you know, this story was brought to me by my wife. And when I saw the story and I looked at it, I'm like, wow. I reached out to them, and like I told the young ladies, I said most women would have not came on and spoke about this, because it was all over social media. Law and Crime did a special on that. It should have been embarrassing for them. Hopefully it's a lesson. Hopefully these young ladies will be able to do the right thing, get their house and get their lives in order, and not only that, get their house in order. You had a lot of people that's concerned, that still was concerned. I have people, a lot of people that's been sending me messages this morning, concerned about these young ladies and these kids, mainly well-being. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it was simply about trying to help the kids. I need my Carmex. You guys got to excuse me. That's why I keep licking my lips. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was just trying to understand, you know, um, why would anyone be living in those type of conditions? And I know that's what, and I tried to ask mainly the questions that I know everybody wanted to ask. I did not, like I said again, I did not bring the ladies on to try to embarrass them or anything like that. I just wanted to, I just wanted to hear their explanation of the living conditions and things like that. You know, um, so at the end of the day, yeah, we're definitely going to do a follow up. A lot of people still had questions about the situation, so we may later on tonight, when I get home, we may come back and do talks about this again. But we're definitely, like I spoke to them after the show, we're definitely going to do a follow up, to see what progress have they made, you know, um, and just make sure that the children, our living conditions are not what they were. So I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Give me your thoughts on that situation. What do you think? Do you think the young women were making excuses about their living conditions, or do you think that they were honest about their situation and what was going on? They basically, the one young lady with the 8 kids, I understand her situation with the fathers. Um, two of the baby daddies, I believe she said one of them died. Two of them are just not in the lives at all, and things like that. So and this should be a lesson for a lot of you young ladies out there who's watching this, that maybe having kids and not having a father there in those kids' life. Quit having kids that you can't not afford to have. And don't have kids with a man that's not planning on being there in your lives, in those kids' lives. And this is another thing why I brought these young ladies on the show. This should be an example um for other young ladies who may be going through a situation like this, or this may be an example of why you not should have kids that you can't afford. So therefore, you won't be going through situations like this. So you can take a lot. It's a lot of messages that you can get from those young ladies' situation. I want to bring them on and hear their explanation of why these children were living in that situation. Because most of all, everyone and even the police were just mainly concerned about the children. Um, a lot of people thought that they were making excuses, about their conditions. Um, and I just wanted to bring them on so the people who thought that they were making excuses, or the people who had problems with their situation, you can hear from the horse's mouth. And that's what I did. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to give a voice. I gave them young ladies a voice last night. They spoke their piece. And like I said, we're going to do a follow up. Like I said, there's a lot of questions that people still have that needs to, um, um, a lot of questions that was unanswered last night. I mainly tried to answer the questions that I thought that everybody wanted to hear. So I'm not going to hold you guys long. I just want to come on, um, and discuss a little bit about that. I want to thank again the Lambert sisters for coming on the show last night, discussing. Sorry about that. I need some water. Talking about their situation and what happened. When the police came out there um, to the home that day. So again, I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about last night's show. Like I said, we're probably going to do a follow up. If not tonight, tomorrow. It's been a busy weekend. I had to work. And I want to thank Brittany Hightower. Because if that interview wouldn't have not been possible if it wasn't for my homegirl Brittany. So again, Britt, thank you. For allowing me to be able to do that. So I'm not going to hold you guys up long. It's been another one. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out. And everybody have a safe day. It looks like it's a pretty nice Sunday. Sit back, relax, enjoy your day. For those who has to have the day off, enjoy your day. Spend some time with your family and your loved ones. That's what it's all about. It's just spending time with family and loved ones. So at the end of the day, it's another one. It's your boy Dame D, and I am out. Peace.